Now, there are people who've done big breakdowns of it, like Ben Shapiro. This is, here, I'll show you this. Ben Shapiro did a half hour called A Deep Dive into Every Legitimate Piece of Evidence in the Epstein Case. But why would we waste our time on that when we already know it? And we can tune into Dinesh D'Souza. What's going on with the Epstein list? 4 minutes of absolute dipshittery.
The issue of Jeffrey Epstein and the Epstein list was raised with President Trump, and he gave a somewhat dismissive answer, like...
Somewhat dismissive. Right.
Why are we talking about this? Who cares? Jeffrey Epstein? Are we talking about that guy still?
Uh-huh.
Now, there were a bunch of MAGA responders who...
MAGA responders. Okay, I didn't realize there's first responders, obviously, and there's MAGA responders.
Took this very badly and said, in effect, Trump is not reading the room. Trump is missing the point.
Trump was Jeffrey Epstein's wingman and is covering for him and hiding his own guilt.
I do want to say that I do get Trump's point. I think this is...
Uh-huh. Somebody got the memo.
This is what Trump is saying. We're trying to fix the country. The country is like one of those minivans that was on the edge of the precipice.
That's exactly what I would... That's such a great analogy. Way better than Gutfeld's, banana seat. Yeah, it is exactly like that. The United States is a minivan on the edge of a precipice, as they do,
And it could easily have gone off the precipice.
Well, yeah, that's the thing about minivans. They're not really off-roading vehicles, so...
And some of us, me included, were worried that it would.
Yes, you look like a man worried about his minivan.
But we have averted that calamity. And we are trying to do a lot of good things on the international front, widening the Abraham Accords, strengthening our alliances, drawing some money in on tariffs. We just got the big, beautiful bill done, massive immigration.
Oh, did we?
Enforcement. So things are happening, tax cuts that have now been consolidated, going after sanctuary cities, going after left-wing universities. So
yeah, but he's got an enormous staff, and this is about, none of that is Pam Bondi's job. None of that is Kash Patel's job. None of that is Dan Bongholio's job, dummy. I'm sorry, are we supposed to believe that Pam Bondi couldn't get the Epstein shit out because she's been working on the Abraham Accords?
So Trump's level of activity has been just dizzying to behold.
You do realize he's golfing more this term than he did last term.
And I think in that sense, you can see that the Epstein issue is somewhat in the rearview mirror. Now, not entirely, I think.
Yeah, not entirely.
Because the Epstein issue for me has always been not even so much about who killed him, although I think it was not Jeffrey Epstein who did it.
Okay. So he didn't hire anybody to kill himself. He didn't do it personally, and he didn't hire anybody to carry it out. So you do not believe Dan Bongholio and Kash Patel, and you think they actively lied to you. Okay, cool. We've established that, even though you're too scared to say it.
But where is the customer list? Either you're going to say that there were no customers, that Epstein was running this whole ring all by himself. He was just having an absolute harem of women, of underage girls for just himself and Prince Andrew. That's it. I saw today that Pam Bondi, addressing the issue, made the point.
By the way, yeah, asshole. That's exactly what they're saying. If you got a problem with that, bring it up with Pam Bondi and Trump.
That she said, well, when I said on Fox News that I had it on my desk, I didn't mean, she says, the list. She said, I meant the file.
Right.
And so...
the file that would have had the list in it, if there is a list at all. And by the way, it's not obviously not a big Excel document. There's just a lot of details. The list would be something you would compile from all the evidence and go, okay, this guy was engaged in, money laundering with him, or in compromise, or he had video of this guy, and so some of the money coming in from this guy was clearly because he was being blackmailed over something, or he was just throwing these parties and trying to like gain money, and so there was no client list. People, you didn't pay him for access to the girls. You paid him, or were in business with him. So all of his non-incriminating, the client list that she was talking about is incriminating because nobody paid him directly for it. They weren't as stupid as Matt Gaetz, for example.
This, I think, is Bondi's way of like backing away from the idea.
Sparks, Epstein wasn't alone in this. Oh, absolutely not, Marjorie. The point I'm trying to make is this asshole, he's bitching about these details when and saying other maggots had complained about this, and this is exactly his problem.
That there clearly must have been a list because she claimed to have had it. I think
right, that is difficult. That's a hard one to get rid of. Sure, why not?
That the issue is not going away, even though the DOJ seems to be proclaiming it closed. It can.
Can we get a body language expert on this? This is not a video the mess wanted to make.
Continues to rankle a lot of MAGA people for the simple reason that it raises the disturbing question: could it be that some foreign government or agency, or maybe even our own intelligence agencies, are
Et tu, Tulsi? Et tu?
Involved here? The fear is not that they were running a blackmail ring with Epstein. The fear is that they are so powerful that not even the Trump administration is willing to out them.
That's right. They've been swamped.
The other issue, the other possibility,
or of many, I guess,
is that there are a lot of prominent Republican and Democratic names, and by that I mean potentially elected officials, potentially donors, who are on this list.
Right. And Trump, wanting to protect all the Democrats that are on that list, clearly does not want it to be known because he is concerned for all the Democrats on that list. Okay.
And that would explain why neither party wants to push the list out. Because, see, it doesn't make any sense to say it's a list that just has Democrats. Because if it had Democrats, why wouldn't our side want to push it out? Oh, President Trump is on the list. Nah. If that had been the case, you can be sure Biden and Harris would have pushed it out.
Well, the problem is that Trump didn't like underage girls. What he liked was the girls that were of age, 18, 19, 20 maybe, that were trained by Jeffrey Epstein and Lex Wessler and that crowd, basically, who had graduated into the legal years, but were effectively, put in this position were sex trafficked internally by Jeffrey Epstein. And so he partook in this. So there's no crime there of him having sex with a 19-year-old. It's just skeevy about how she ended up part of that. And if she's not willing to come forward because she'll end up pushed off a boat somewhere, then you can never really bring charges. So in the Trump world, everybody knows that Trump's a mama's boy. So the idea that he liked him underage or whatever was never a part of this. It's enough that Jeffrey Epstein did, and Trump was his buddy.
So what is the explanation for why we aren't getting the list from either side? Well, I just gave you what I think are the other two possibilities, and both of them I think are quite disturbing.
That's the end of it. Thanks, the mess. Dinesh D'Souza, everybody. Never has so little been said with so few words in such a short period of time while still managing. I think the mess has the ability to waste more time than his videos actually last. That's impressive. Noam Chomsky was friends with Epstein. He and Trump have had the sketchiest answers about that shit. A bunch of them have denied they were around these things, that that Epstein was a gadfly and that he offered his plane for the Clinton Foundation and other stuff like that. He was trying to maneuver himself, and try to get close to power, whether they participated in it or not. A lot of them are like, I regret being around him, all that kind of shit, right? Nice editing, Debbie. That's exactly right. how Trump was into underage girls. My point is that if they don't have evidence of it, if this is why Democrats, I think, wouldn't put out evidence, because they didn't have evidence of Trump being engaged with these underage girls. Besides that civil case that was brought forward, but still, whether there was evidence to prosecute it or not is not the point. I'm saying whether he did or whether he didn't, whether there's direct evidence or whether there isn't, it's enough that Trump was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 25 years. Does that make sense? Like, I don't need it to go lower than that. That's as low as it needs to go to just jettison the fucker. And yet these guys have to support him, right? They have to scoop up, everything he does. So that's my point. Hey, what's happening? There's a deposition. Yes, that's a civil case. I agree. But again, this is whether you could prosecute based on that is immaterial to me. Right? I think it's enough that he was just friends with Epstein as long as he was to say fuck him. Okay. All right. Now, to the point of the mess saying, the swamp is so powerful, the intelligence community, somebody has a stranglehold on the administration, and that's why it's not coming out. Not because Trump's in it, but because the swamp is so powerful. Well, guess who also got that fucking memo? Balloon head over here, Charlie Kirk. Look at the title of this one. The Uniparty continues to hold Trump administration hostage. Enough is enough. The Uniparty is holding the Trump administration hostage. I know yours, and by the way, this is a short one too.
Folks, let me tell you about my good friend Todd Nettleton from The Voice of the Martyrs. For over 2 decades, he's written a power
Okay.
for 3043.
When faith is forbidden. Oh, God.
The Senate work calendar is a disgrace. And I intentionally did not hit this throughout the month of June because of the big, beautiful bill.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so you were trying to help them pass something. You were playing a part of that at, like, the state media that you are. And so now you're attacking how lazy they are now that the bill is passed because fuck them or something.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, you got to pass the big, beautiful bill. But enough, okay? This whole that we're going to arrive on Tuesday afternoon and we're going to leave on Thursday afternoon, when Donald Trump still has hundreds of unconfirmed appointees. Do you know Donald Trump still has hundreds of unconfirmed appointees?
Yes, thank you, Democrats.
Hundreds. Ambassadorships, U.S. attorneys. We have people that are very important mid-level positions at Department of Justice.
Very important mid-level. By the way, none of which are going to be able to dig up the Epstein evidence. I think that's what we should talk about. How about this? Let's call it what it is. Epstein evidence. We want to see the Epstein evidence because there was an evidentiary hearing about him, that there would be evidence that would be brought forward in his trial before he did himself in or somebody did him in, right? There was evidence brought forth against him and Ghislaine Maxwell and her helping him. That's evidence. There's plenty of evidence. So how about you just say evidence? I don't want to hear list. Whether there's a list or not is immaterial. Whether there's a file or not is immaterial. The evidence should be enough. How about that? I want to see the Epstein evidence.
Of Justice, at Department of Labor. It is unacceptable to take a quarter of an entire presidential term to staff the president's picks. And John Thune, we're looking at you. John Thune, generally, I think you've been doing a good job. But now enough. We have to get the big, beautiful bill. Well, you passed it. And these senators, we're going to start melting fold lines. We expect a vote-a-rama. You can do concurrent nominations. If we do not have every single one of Trump's nominees by Labor Day, we're going to have serious problems.
Well, guess what? You're going to have serious problems because Democrats are they are stomping the brake pedal at every chance they get.
And by the way, Lindsey Graham, we're talking to you. That's Lindsey Graham. Why? Andre Bauer, one of the guys that's running up against you in the primary in South Carolina, is coming to the Student Action Summit. This is why we're behind Nate Morris in Kentucky. We at Turning Point Action, we are going to be at the vanguard. We are going to be the tip of the spear for replacing bad Republican senators.
Oh, so good. So good. because I feel like the Democrats have learned the lesson of David Hogg, and they kind of they floated this idea that they were going to go after Democrats and start primarying people, and then everybody went, "Whoa, slow your roll, asshole. Where nobody's got a mandate. We got work to do. Let's focus on turning red districts purple, purple districts blue. That's all that matters." But they have not learned this lesson. And while Elon Musk has started his American party, this asshole is talking about primarying people in Kentucky, of all places.
Senators, and Lindsey Graham is the worst offender of the Senate work week. I don't know what he does for this time. What is Lindsey Graham doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday? Is he
drafting sanctions bills, apparently, because, he's actually on these committees and he actually does some of the work.
Probably, honestly, I think we know what he's doing. He's planning for another war, is what he's doing. How do I try to get us for regime change? Look, the audience is ticked off, and you should be. President Donald Trump is working his tail off. And by the way, we
working his tail off.
Do not have.
Is that his idea of working smart?
U.S. attorneys in a lot of these places. We have acting. Do you notice if you ever watch Fox News, and I got a great relationship with Fox News, do you ever notice when you watch Fox News, do you look at the titles of their guests? Acting U.S. attorney, acting U.S. attorney, acting U.S. attorney, acting U.S. attorney. Mm-hmm. Do you know what that means?
That means Donald Trump can't pick people that will pass Senate vote immediately, even just on the Senate margins. Even Republicans are reticent to vote for this person, especially after Pete Hegseth, that he keeps nominating assholes.
That means that the Senate has not lifted a finger to confirm them. Acting ICE director, acting U.S. attorney.
Oh, no, they've lifted a finger, and the Democrats have pushed that finger right back down.
Acting. And at some point, we have to start.
Why is there a mix of Democrats and Republicans in this montage of people in the Senate? First of all, ancient picture of Ted Cruz. But why would Angus King or like Mazie Hirono or why would Elizabeth Warren vote with you on these things? What the fuck are you talking about?
Start to power through. That's Jeff Flake. Boy, that's a blast from the past.
Right. Yeah. Jeff Flake's not even the fucking Senate anymore.
The U.S. Senate. We need.
What is this image?
We need to have a come to truth moment, a come to Jesus moment. They have to do a vote-o-rama. Enough of this. I'm only going to work 2 days. 1/4 of Trump's presidency is going to be taken from us. I know great people that are still not U.S. ambassadors to very important countries.
Right, but they go anyways.
Where we need a representative. Guess what? You know what happens when we don't have a U.S. ambassador to these countries? Some career Biden holdover is representing America in that country. And
yes, probably somebody who speaks the language, knows the culture, isn't going over there just to make deals for themselves.
In countries like Switzerland, in countries like Italy. Now, finally, some of those are getting through. Tillman Fertitta is getting through. Charlie Kushner is getting through. But still, there's major countries without U.S. ambassadors. Major countries.
Charlie Kushner, yeah.
And this is how the Uniparty operates. I said this on Jesse Waters' program recently. They operate by running.
By the way, okay. So the reason he's saying Uniparty is because they don't have enough Republican votes to pass these people.
Out the clock. And it's time for the U.S. Senate to get off their tail, or else the grassroots is going to roar. Wonder why the midterms were not as well as one of them. Because you guys do not work nearly as hard as your constituents do.
Ouch. Gosh, I'm almost starting to hope that you guys don't motivate these assholes, which you can't.
They wanted us to feel sorry for them. Well, we pulled an all-nighter for the big, beautiful bill. Really? You pulled an all-nighter? I know 36 moms in Peoria,
you do?
Arizona, that pulled an all-nighter. Blake,
you do? What the fuck were they doing?
Pulled an all-nighter to help prepare for our show. I mean, you pulled an all-nighter. If this was a pro sports team, if this was the Packers or the Bears or the Cubs or the Diamondbacks or the Cardinals or the Cowboys, there'd be no excuses. We'd say, fire the coach, work all night. We demand you make the playoffs. But for the U.S. Senate, we say, it's okay, you can work 2 days. It's disgusting. Get to work. Or
well, you do realize they also have to work in relation to their states themselves. So they have to, and if they can't all be there, they can't all vote. And so if some of them have to go back because, I don't know, in some cases, I mean, obviously not Ted Cruz, but if, if there's been a disaster in their state or they have to, do work within their state to get reelected or to raise money or to distribute funds that are specific to that, meet with the governor and the legislature there. They have to do stuff in their actual state. Then they not all, if two of them aren't there, what the fuck would you bring everybody else there for? Because you can't do anything. It's paralyzed. Okay, wait. I finally get an answer on Epstein that actually makes sense? Well, let's see. Finally.
Joining us now is Mark Halperin, editor-in-chief of Two-Way.
This is an hour ago. And wait, Mark Halperin? I mean, the guy who, like, sexually harassed women and lost his job because of it, that now Megyn Kelly, who was sexually harassed out of her job at Fox, brings on as a guest?
And host of Next Up on the Megyn Kelly Network.
Oh, yeah. So fucking weird.
Mark, great to see you. Mark, I caught your interview with Megyn Kelly, I think it was yesterday, where you were discussing the Epstein story. This is an unusual one where it seems as if it is growing in its interest and with velocity over the last couple of days.
Yeah, I can't imagine why.
What is
They told you guys to fuck off and that you need to stop asking questions, and then all of a sudden...
your analysis as a reporter of how the Trump administration has handled this, and what would you say is the political implication?
They handled it like a rattlesnake smothered in lard.
Of this.
Well, first of all, nice to be back. And if you want to know why I'm not, as is our usual practice, wearing a ripped and wrinkled T-shirt, it's because I had your friend Michael Knowles on my podcast today. And as you know, he's an Ivy League dweeb. I knew he'd wear a sports jacket. So
that's right. He always dresses up.
That's why I'm overdressed. Okay, so there's at least 4 reasons why you would think the president and the administration would be doing full-on disclosure. First, it's the right thing to do for the victims. Second,
that's hilarious.
They promise
that Trump gives a shit. Have you heard of him speak of women that he himself has been accused of sexually assaulting? Do you hear anything, even in his language, about even if somebody accused you wrongly of sexual assault, in your answer, you could give respect to victims of sexual assault in general and make it understand that, like, if you just attack someone and you just use your power as leverage to protect yourself, that might scare women who've been sexually assaulted away from, pressing charges or coming forward, right? So you would have some deference in that situation. So, because that would be what's right. Even if you're innocent in the situation, you understand that some men are guilty, and you would make sure to carve out a piece of your language so that you wouldn't dissuade women from coming forward. That's what's right. This is just bullshit.
Promise that they would be transparent about this. 3, the MAGA movement, as best we can tell, certainly many of its leaders, like you, are for it. But certainly, at least I surveyed I asked everyone on Two-Way this morning on the morning meeting. Go in the chat if you're a 3-time Trump voter, say what you think they should do, and very pro-disclosure. And 4, they've handled it badly in so many ways, and just the politics of it suggests that the way to recover from such a poor handling of it would be to comply with the other 3 things. So what's on the other side? Why wouldn't they be disclosing?
Because Trump was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 25 years. And Roy Cohn before that. And he has no morals around, like, sexual depravity, no matter the age of the victim, and never has. If you don't believe me, go listen to him talking about the Miss Teen Universe competition or the Miss Teen USA competition that he had.
And the answers are not great. Either they're trying to protect people, or there's an intelligence connection that they're trying to protect, as best I can tell.
What people? Well, is there a particular person?
I struggle, despite what I said about the Two-Way community, I struggle with knowing whether there's political damage here for the president. In the midterms, people say, there won't be turnout in the midterms, or his approval rating will go down. MAGA is very resilient. MAGA fights with the president sometimes and then moves on.
Right. So they're going to vote for him even if he is protecting a network of pedophiles. Great. That's what a way to really just draw the line in the sand, maggots. That's brilliant. They may fight with him from now on, But even if it means that dozens of super rich pedophiles continue to victimize children all over the world, it still will be worth it for the tax cuts. You guys are fucking amazing.
And I don't know that this is a qualitatively different case. There's a lot of emotion around this. There's a lot of resonance around it. There are a lot of leaders, including some MAGA leaders who often disagree, who seem to agree on this. There's not much support for the president's position, except for people who he hired. So I don't really know where it's going or how much damage it will do. But I do think that the two
It's going down and a lot. I just wanted to answer those two questions.
ledgers, the two sides of the ledger seem pretty clear, and it's incumbent upon them to not put out a statement or say some things on the fly, but to have a long and detailed explanation of why they're choosing the course they're choosing, because the way they've done it so far is only arousing suspicion.
Based on your reporting, did the Trump administration think it would go away after a day or two with this kind of Sunday night leak strategy?
They did. And of course, as you know, they're leveraging the credibility of the director of the FBI and his deputy, two people who previously were, in the camp of saying there needs to be disclosure and concerned about a conspiracy. So I think they were trying to leverage them. Did they think it would go away? Yes. Part of the issue here is while MAGA media is quite
Why? Why would they think this? I mean, you could argue that if there was a single aha to all of QAnon, all of Pizzagate, all of this, there are elites that do this stuff and they must be brought down. That was the driving point behind the QAnon's save the children, trust the plan, the storm is coming bullshit that they were selling. If there was a single person that was like the flagship predator in this situation that they actually had evidence around, it was Jeffrey Epstein. And QAnon turned into MAGA. All of them folded into MAGA.
Interested. The dominant media, inexplicably to me, is not interested, even though you've got now House Democrats writing a letter to the president saying he should put all this stuff out.
Weird. What was that again?
So you've got now House Democrats writing a letter to the president saying he should put all this stuff out.
And who did this? So the Uniparty is trying to stop all of it, but who's writing a letter to the president that he should put all of it out?
You've got now House Democrats writing a letter to the president saying he should put all this stuff out.
What? House Republicans didn't write a similar letter? They didn't care about this as much as they said they did?
I don't know why the press isn't interested in the story. It's a compelling story just as a story. The whole thing is, but including this latest episode. But also the fact that Donald Trump is split from MAGA. So there are a lot of stories about the MAGA split, but there are not a lot of stories on TV, especially where Donald Trump pays attention, even though he doesn't like the dominant media, he pays close attention. There are not a lot of stories there about the underlying question, which is, where is justice for the victims? And so part of why they didn't think they'd pay a political price, and part of why I don't think they're as concerned as they might be, is this is a big topic of discussion on Megyn's show, on your show, on X, but it's not a dominant conversation, in the country at large.
Right. So that's what it is. It's and this is so Trump. So the Halperin's idea in this circumstance is it hasn't shown up in the legacy media enough to annoy Trump. And that's why he jumped on the dude who asked the question at the cabinet meeting. But he doesn't actually give a shit if Megyn Kelly or Charlie Kirk or Jimmy Dore or any of these other maggot suck-ups get mad at him or turn on him, because he figures they'll come home because he'll send his army of maggots after them, and they'll be so afraid of political violence or of being left out of the win or whatever the shit, that they'll just suck it up eventually, because they're all performative like him. They don't actually have any morals. And I would agree to some degree. Maybe this is a true calculation that Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, Ben Shapiro, all these people, Dave Smith, any of these people who are pretending to give a shit about this, He's making the calculation that these people are Trump supporters, meaning that they are as morally flexible as any human being can be, and everything is just bullshit. I tend to disagree. I don't think that's the case. And I think it's partly audience capture. Some of them might want to look the other way. I mean, the fact that Megyn Kelly can have Mark Halperin on her show, considering why he lost his job and why she left her last job, is fucking crazy to me. So if she's able to do that, of course she's able to forgive Donald Trump for, philandering with Jeffrey Epstein for 2.5 decades, right? She'll get over it. But their audiences won't let them, because they think, apparently, the maggots think that Trump is a victim in this situation, that he's being controlled. And this is proof that the deep state is still in power and the swamp is controlling everything. And he's got to break his way out of this. And they believe him, and he's going to be their, their warrior for Jesus or whatever.